Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome on into a DFS strategy video for the 2026 Travelers Championship. My name is Eric, and I'm here to cover everything you're going to want to know on how to target the optimal lineup this week. That means going over the golf course and tournament information, going over past optimal and GPP winning lineups. We'll dive on into the bucket system as well as the marquee tee times to narrow down our player pools to build lineups a little bit later in the stream. And speaking of building lineups, I will be doing so with the optimizer that I have for people. If you would like one, well, first of all, if you want lineups built, you need to have a badge next to your name. In order to get a badge next to your name in this live chat, you have to hit the join button, either down there to the left, like right next to my name, or here in the live chat, there should be a little money symbol. Hit that. It's $1.99 a month. If you want to, price that out, that's 50 cents a week. So join the red tier, $1.99 a month. I will build you lineups at the end of this video or at the end of the stream using the optimizer you see on screen. Of course, then it also helps support me and support this channel, which I will greatly appreciate. Speaking more about memberships on this channel, if you become a white tier member, I stream Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, going over a few more things that I have learned between this Tuesday night stream and that Wednesday night stream to figure out on what to do with building lineups. I will show you what I will be doing when it comes to me building lineups, and I will answer any questions for the people that come into the chat then. It's just a more close-knit group of people that bounce ideas off of each other. And yeah, that is $4.99 a month. It's the white tier membership and above that has access to those Wednesday night streams. That is all that I have. Again, I'm going to be building lineups using the optimizer you see on screen. I also like to go over giveaways, or I like to provide giveaways, I should say, but I'll go over them. We have a weekly giveaway, a monthly giveaway. The monthly giveaway is always ran the first Tuesday of the new month. Obviously, that is not yet. It won't be next week, but it will be the week after. I think it's like 4th of July weekend, or just after 4th of July weekend. So we will be doing a monthly giveaway. You can get a monthly membership to SweetSpotDFS.com. And if we hit the goal that I have way over there to the left, I will also add a t-shirt. Logan in the chat, he got that last month. We not only hit the goal, but he was the winner of that monthly giveaway. So he got a membership to SweetSpotDFS.com, which we delayed until right before the US Open so he could get access to researching the US Open as well as the Open Championship. Logan, I still have yet to put your shirt in the mail. It is in my bag that goes to work with my laptop. I will get there eventually. Today was just not a day I could do it. So either way, I know you're not too worried about it, but I do have it with me. I will send it whenever I can. So yeah. But yeah, we're going to do a weekly giveaway right now. Of course, let me throw this up, or let me mention this. If you want to learn how to gain entries into any of the giveaways that I do, check the link in the description. It goes over how you can gain entries. Basically just requires your participation. Subscribe to the channel, participate, comment during these roll calls during the live streams, comment on the videos after they go live, when they're on replay. You're going to get entries. So with that being said, over the US Open, I had 32 total entries. These are all the people that commented. I know some of you guys hit let's hit the sweet spot in the chat, or let's hit the sweet spot in some of these videos. But when it comes to the US Open or any of the major championships and those one-off videos, I don't do double entries, or I don't, I did, I think I had one message on there accidentally saying that you could. Either way, I appreciate your guys' participation on those videos, and you got entries for them. The only video that you can get double entries on would be the strategy video. So anyways, 32 total entries. Here we go with the drum roll. AJ Love, congrats, man. I have all your information, so I will send you the $5. I don't even see him in the chat. He normally is in the chat. Not this time. Okie dokie. Let's, another reminder, this is a live stream. There are people in my chat, like Joanne, Ryan, Logan. What's going on, everybody? Let's see. We're going to play special Scotty rules this week. That's right. We'll get to there. No shirt yet, sir. Yeah, I just mentioned it. Ryan says his birthday's Monday, so I need to win a drawing. Sorry, bud. Didn't get the win. I won a big WNBA contest and a bunch of FanDuel credits. I have to turn them into cash before I can withdraw them, so I will be playing a lot of contests. I'm playing basically $10 or $11 worth of contests, which is about 6 entries. I usually play 2 total. That is, I'm playing Scotty this week. Yeah. We'll get into all that. I think it is definitely a Scotty week. We are going to go start with the golf course and tournament information right now. All right. Oh boy. Oh boy. How is that up? Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's go back here. Technical difficulties. I have no idea how that came up. That should not have been there. Let me double check other ones. All right, we're good. I don't know how that showed up. Anyways, here we go. All right. I like to start here with the tournament information. This is on SweetSpotDFS.com. There's a link for this site down in the description. Under tournament stats, or I should say under fantasy tools, you'll find tournament stats. This does require being a paid member. Geez, I even forgot to mention this. Let me go back. Oh boy. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, we're all over the place. It is a B tier or a C tier production right now. All right. Guys, bear with me. My apologies. I had such a great intro to all of this. But here, SweetSpotDFS.com. Check it out. Become a, sign up for free, and you will get into this giveaway that I have on the screen. 1 lifetime member, 1 annual member, 2 cash giveaways. All you got to do is create an account at SweetSpotDFS.com. And then once this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, I will run this giveaway. I will pull all the email addresses from the website, and on stream, I will run the giveaway. I will reach out to you since I'll have your contact information. And then I'll let you guys pick whatever giveaway winner or whatever prize that you want to win. It'll be in order. First wins get the choice, get their first choices. All right. Well, this was less than perfect when it comes to starting this off, but here we go again. Of course. All right. So here we go. SweetSpotDFS.com, tournament stats. Go check it out. I like to go in and put in the Travelers Championship just to get a sense of what to anticipate this week, as in, what is the average winning score? This is a signature event. There is no cut, so you could get very risky with your lineup builds. If you want to go very top heavy with, you know, a bunch of 6K golfers, you certainly could do that. We'll be talking about Scotty Scheffler here pretty soon. So yeah, with these no cut events, especially an event like this, the average winning score isn't crazy, but it's still low enough where DraftKings points, you know, with birdies, eagles, streaks, all that kind of stuff are all in play. So you definitely want to grab golfers that I would say are a bit more volatile when it comes to, you know, birdies and bogeys. I want golfers who make tons of birdies. They might offset them with a bunch of bogeys because I think the raw DraftKings points are going to matter more than the placement points this week. With that being said, you know, anybody that's in this field is going to basically fit those needs. There might be some golfers that are like grinded out par golfers, like say Jason Day. If Jason Day goes throughout this tournament and shoots 4 under each day, shoots 16 under, there's a chance he's going to finish inside the top 5, and then you'd want to play him when it comes to that just by placement. He'd get a bogey free bonus each of his rounds, but he most likely won't get birdie bonuses, and he won't be getting a lot of birdies. Whereas you could get someone like Keegan Bradley, who might go birdie, bogey, birdie, 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 bogey, 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 birdie, 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 bogey, bogey, bogey. He's going to score more points than Jason Day, and he might even finish 30th place. So this is the time, this is the week that you'd want to grab golfers that, yeah, a bit more volatile. Like Nico Echeverria is a name that pops to mind right away. He's very streaky. When he gets hot, he gets really hot. We don't have to worry about a cut. So we can play golfers like that. And he's very, very cheap this week. He's not one of my favorite golfers. I'm not really advocating for you to play him per se, but I'm kind of getting to the point of this is the week to play any of those types of golfers. He's just one name that came to mind. So, like I said, this is a signature event. This started to become a signature event in 2024. It was not a signature event in 2023. In fact, it has still had a cut back then, but you can tell the strength of field was pretty high. This became one of those events where golfers were wanting to come to. I mean, even in 2020, well, 2020 doesn't really count either because that was a COVID year. This was like the third event back, and a lot of people like to come to Cromwell, Connecticut, where this tournament is being played. It is one of the better hosting tournaments where the players get treated a little bit better than they do anywhere else. So a lot of golfers like to come to this tournament. The strength of field has been pretty high, but not as high as it was when it started to become a signature event or when it was about to become a signature event. So normally these signature events have around 70 golfers, 70, 71, 72. We do have 72 in the field this week. Strength of field 734. I always like to talk about this when it comes to golf course and tournament information pieces. You know, you'll hear a lot of content creators going out there talking about the golf course. They might even do a hole by hole breakdown. They might do a full course breakdown, but there are no payoffs that come with it. That's my big issue when it comes to this course and tournament information. I'm giving you all the data points that you can use for researching. Now, I used to do this way back when I didn't have a website. I now have a website. And if you want to use, I was just going to say, I do not have, I thought I had the page open that I wanted open. If you want to use the data points that I'm covering for researching, most of my tools, I mean, I can even go here, all these little icons, little filter buttons, if you drill into them, you will see the different types of filters that come with it. Now, we weren't talking about grass. We're talking about tournament stats. So there is a tournament stats filter. We can go with field size. We can go with signature events. There are a lot of different filters that you can see on each of these pages. This one being the probably most prevalent one that I would say you want to use. This is the strokes gain stats page. So under tournament stats, if you just want to look at signature events and just leave it at that, we can X out of this. Currently, there's a date filter that's only looking at the last year. So this will get you somewhere between 24 to 32 rounds for most of these golfers, which is kind of, I mean, a lot of people in the industry will say that is the sweet spot of rounds that you want to be looking at and analyzing. So there you have it. And what I would just recommend is just go up here, sort by strokes gained total from top to bottom, and just look at all the golfers that play well here. Again, this is just looking at the last year. So if you wanted to go even further back, when you make these updates, you will see that the players do change because of the sort that we have on here. So you will see more of these golfers, or a better sense of which golfers are really good with whatever filters that you're putting in. Eric Cole only has 4 rounds of golf. If you drill into his name, you'll see what tournament that belongs to, and that was the Memorial Tournament. You can do that with any of these golfers. Just drill into their names, and you will see the tournaments that they played, where their stats are coming from, and basically the results that they had. We have 3 golfers that are above Scotty Scheffler. A lot of them, very limited player, or very limited tournaments under their belt, limited rounds. Scotty Scheffler at 28 rounds has a strokes gained total of 1.811, but you have Alex Fitzpatrick that's above him, but he only played 12 rounds. That's almost 2 flat. Christopher Wrighton's 2.1, Eric Cole's 2.3. If that's enough for you guys to go, ooh, I want to play these golfers, by all means do so. You know, these are data points that you're using for research. This is mighty fine. You can go ahead and do that. Here are the top 10 when it comes to just looking over the last year at signature events and how they perform looking at strokes gained total. So, interesting names up here, and names that you can easily build lineups around, including Scotty Scheffler. You could put Scotty Scheffler with these 3 golfers right here and be just fine. Maybe not just fine, but it's a strategy that you can deploy. There are other filters when it comes to these tournament stats, so I just only drilled into signature. If you wanted to, you know, change the field size from, say, 40 to 80, which I think is absolutely fine, you could do that. This will create a little bit different parameters that come to how these golfers, you know, perform. So now we don't get Eric Cole up here anymore. We have Christopher Wrighton that's at the top, 2.195. But then there's Scotty at 2.1. You can also filter out a little bit more than that. So we can clear out these filters here. If you wanted to look at strength of field, because again, we're over, what was it, 600? I forgot off the top of my head, 734. So what we could do in here is, you know, put this to 680 to 780. Kind of the, you know, that 730 is kind of right in between. So now when we look at strength of field like this, we have those 2 golfers that we've been talking about, Eric Cole and Christopher Wrighton at the top. But then, there, of course, there's Scotty Scheffler. Adam Scott's another golfer that shows up. Colin Morikawa, Tommy Fleetwood, Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Oberg. Like, a lot of these names we've already been seeing at the top of the strokes gain leaderboard for these types of data points that we are filtering on. So do with that as you will. I'm kind of just giving you a little way. One, I'm showing you the golfers. We're going over the tournament information, so I'm showing you the golfers that perform the best. And 2, if you want to use SweetSpotDFS.com, I'm showing you how to use the filters and how I would go about researching which golfers are the best. Now, when we move on to the golf course, we are at TPC River Highlands. This has hosted the Travelers Championship for as long as my data goes back. I go back to 2013. So this course has hosted this tournament the entire time. It is a Pete Dye designed golf course. I normally don't really talk about the architect, but Pete Dye is such a prevalent architect that I put him into my models. Like Pete Dye results, I will put into my models. In fact, if you look at the cheat sheet that I provide for you guys under Fantasy Tools cheat sheet, again, SweetSpotDFS.com, go there. This is free. You do not need an account for this. You can use this cheat sheet, or if you scroll down, I have a secondary cheat sheet. This is the old school one that I'm still maintaining. I'm going to note this right now. This goes away after the Open. After the Open Championship, I'm no longer going to spreadsheet. Just throwing that out there. If you have an issue with that, reach out to me at SweetSpotDFS.com. I'll listen to anybody who wants me to continue doing this, but this takes up so much of my time. I could be doing other things like updating the website, adding more tools, but this takes at least 4 to 6 hours of my time that I could be doing something else with. I could be updating other things. So as of now, this goes away after the Open Championship. But if you were to click here under this button, the Google Sheet appears. And if I zoom in for you guys, I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to scroll over. I know it says Bermuda. That needs to change. It is Pete Dye. I just didn't change the headers. If I show you my site or my spreadsheets, these are my spreadsheets. I changed them on mine. I forgot to change them on yours. But it is Pete Dye. I am always going to look at Pete Dye results when Pete Dye is the architect. It just makes the most sense. I'm always going to do that. So with that being said, if I go back to the golf course stats, it is a Pete Dye golf course. 6,800 yards, par 70. Very short. Bent grass and POA. I am using, at least on the cheat sheet, we're only looking at bent grass and Pete Dye. I could add POA, but when it comes to these spreadsheeting things, I've only added 2 grass types, and really it's just one architect type with one grass type. I shouldn't even say architect type. It's just one architect. Go with grass type. But with this information, what you could do, and again, I'll do this with you guys. So if we just put in grass and go down to the greens, because I think this is probably the most important, I would always go to greens first and filter just out by the greens, bent grass. You want to add POA to it? You certainly can. We can go bent grass and POA. And when we take that out, it is already sorting on strokes gained total because we've already applied this before. You can see Scotty Scheffler is leaps and bounds above everyone else, almost double anybody else. Scotty Scheffler at 2.917 strokes gained total when it comes to playing on these types of surfaces, followed by Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Jake Knapp, who is coming back from injury. He missed the cut last week. That was his first tournament back. We also have Xander, who plays really well at this golf course, or plays pretty well. Not really well, but pretty well. Sam Burns, Ludwig Oberg, Russell Henley, Morikawa, and Justin Rose. Those are your top 10 golfers with those stat requirements. If I take out POA and we just look at bent grass, doesn't really change much. It just, Scotty Scheffler goes up quite a bit more, 3.036. Matt Fitzpatrick actually goes up pretty much, quite a bit too, 2.006. But then you have kind of the same golfers. Mav McNeely pokes through. So does Russell Henley. But you do have the same Sam Burns, Xander, Rose, Fleetwood, Knapp, and Fitzpatrick that go underneath Scheffler. So those would be good golfers to anchor your lineups around, in my opinion. You know, the higher price golfers. The other ones, sure, throw them in your chat or throw them in your lineups. I think that's just fine. So that's just looking at grass stats. We can close this down. I have this little course stats filter. Highlights blue when you hover over it. There's the architect right there. We go ahead and put Pete Dye as the architect. We are looking at all Pete Dye golf courses, and we can see which golfers play the best. Scotty Scheffler, Matt Fitzpatrick, and I will say this is over a year, so maybe we want to move it back 2 years to take a look. Who plays just a little bit better? So 2024. I will note this. Here, let's go back to 2025. Look at Matt Fitzpatrick. Matt Fitzpatrick has won the RBC Heritage a couple times. He won it this year. So if you drill down on his name, you can see RBC Heritage, he was first. Players Championship, he was second. American Express, not so great. But either way, him on Pete Dye golf course is pretty darn good. And this is not a bomber type golf course, although, you know, Matt Fitzpatrick hits the ball a little bit further nowadays. I still wouldn't consider him a bomber. He just hits the ball far, you know? Not, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm reluctant to call him a bomber. Maybe he is, and I just don't want to call him one because he doesn't strike me as a bomber. But he does hit the ball pretty far. It doesn't really matter here at the Travelers. It does in the sense that he will be hitting shorter irons, whereas average golfers might be hitting a little bit longer of irons. That's where power and speed comes into play. But anyways, a more of a precision golf course like the RBC Heritage. That is what this golf course is. it plays well into Matt Fitzpatrick's game. That's all I'm trying to say. It plays well into Matt Fitzpatrick's game. And if you look, he closes the gap between him and Scheffler more so when we look at Pete Dye just over the last year than if we were to go Bentgrass and Poa. But still, Scheffler reigns supreme. And if we go even further back, Fitzpatrick will drop down a little bit. Now, Fleetwood gets a little bit closer to Scheffler, but still, Scheffler is, you know, half a stroke better than everyone almost all the time. It's just, how are you going to build your lineups, you know, going from here? Worth noting, Alex Smalley bumps up to 4th in the model if we just only look at Pete Dye tracks over the last 2 years. And if you drill down into his name, he's got a pretty good track record. 24th at the Players this year, 44th at the American Express, which is whatever, 14th at the Players the year before, and 11th at the American Express the year before. That's more of a scoring fest. So like I was kind of talking about, do we want to pick golfers that make birdies and bogeys? Yeah. I think I would like to play Alex Smalley at 6,800, especially if I want to pair him up with Scotty Scheffler with my Scotty Scheffler lineups. There's Jason Day. I did mention him before. I'm not a huge proponent of playing Jason Day. He did finish 2nd at the American Express, which is a scoring fest. And I said, I don't really consider him the scoring type. That, like, old Jason Day was just a grinded out par golfer. He still kind of is, but he can shoot low at golf or at courses like the American Express, or tournaments like the American Express. The American Express being like 3 different golf courses. Anyways, there's also JJ Spawn. So these golfers right here kind of pop up. A lot of the golfers that we've been looking at in the other filters that we've put on have disappeared, and now we see new ones like Cantlay, Justin Thomas, Keegan Bradley, JJ Spawn. First time seeing JJ Spawn's name here. Same goes with Alex Smalley. So there are different ways to look at the data, different ways to kind of, you know, if you see a lot of the same golfers, do you really want to anchor your lineups around those golfers? I'd say, I mean, I would listen to the argument as of yes. Why not? Why wouldn't you? It's the only thing that really makes sense. But you could also anchor your lineups around other golfers, and some of these, I would say, glue pieces like an Alex Smalley at $6,800 or even JJ Spawn at $7,900 make lineup building a little bit easier to accomplish. So maybe that's the way to go. But that's it when it comes to golf course and tournament information. I just wanted to show you guys how to use the tools, show you the top 10 golfers in each of those filters that I think are important this week. I'm going to leave it up to you to do the rest of the research. Go to SweetSpotDFS.com, create yourself an account. All this is behind a paywall. So $4.99 a week, $19.99 a month. You could also sign up for a lifetime member. There's still 20 some spots available for that. That's $600 just flat fee. You get the website for life. NWO, full life. Okay, I'll look at the chat now, and then we'll move on to pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. AJ says he was cutting strawberries. Yeah, and you did win $5, AJ, so congrats. What if someone who retired from playing that wins? What does that mean? What if someone who, what do you mean by that? I trimmed my garden yesterday, says Logan. Very, very good. Eric Cole is a good one to play, especially if the sun comes out to solar power Cole. Jesus Christ. All right, good one. Good one. John Valentine, what's going on, man? I'm the last person in my pick 2 league with Xander and Tommy right now. I can also reuse a winner. Would you play one here or save them for the open or playoff event? Oh, you got playoffs? Oh boy. I guess it depends on how you structure. How do you structure, like how are your contests structured? Like, do you get bonus points for the tour championship? Is it based off of prize money? Is it based off of prize money? Because this is still a good tournament to play your better golfers. I honestly think Scotty Scheffler's going to win this week. Like I feel it in my bones. Charlie Carden, what's up, man? Still here wishing Burnsy putt dropped. Oh, I know, dude. I know. Just St. Jude and BMW. Okay. But is it based off of money? Yes, prize money. Ooh. I would feel more comfortable. Shoot. Have you already used Xander and or Tommy? Which ones have you already used? You said you can reuse a winner? So Xander hasn't won yet. Tommy hasn't won yet. Not this year, at least. Scotty did win. I don't know if you had him during the American Express. I kind of like Xander at the Open. I think his game is pretty decent there. We could also make the argument that Tommy Fleetwood's game is better there, but I also really like Tommy Fleetwood this week for the Travelers. I would say this. I like Tommy Fleetwood better than Xander, but I like Scotty better than both of those guys. If you could play both of them this week, I think you can guarantee a win. I just don't think there's going to be a rando that'll show up. Maybe Brian Harman. Like Byron and I talked about this Sunday night. We talked about how good Brian Harman's course history is here. He's definitely someone worth mentioning. Even like someone like Justin Thomas is pretty decent here. No, I'm the only person with Xander and Tommy left. Oh, so you get them to yourself. So if one of them won, you could use them again during the Open, right? Wouldn't that be the way to think about this? I don't know. I kind of really like Tommy this week. And he has performed well here before. He lost to Keegan, right? With a dumb, stupid putt. Yeah, dude, that's kind of where I'd go. I go, Byron Harman is great. Yeah, Byron Harman. You know, it just combines all the best things, you know? All of the best things. Okie-doke. Let's move on to the next segment, which is Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups. You're welcome, John. Of course, this is one of my favorite segments. This allows us to kind of look at past salary builds that have been successful. Not only just at the Travelers Championship, but we can put in whatever parameters we want to look at. This is a Scotty Scheffler week. Obviously, everyone in my chat knows we need to hit the Scotty Scheffler button because Scotty Scheffler kind of disrupts the typical analysis of any of these tournaments. And the big reason why that is comes down to his price tag. If we look at the cheat sheet, he's $13,800. Now, I did talk about this with Byron Sunday night during the preview video. When it comes to, you know, well, actually, we were trying to predict his price tag. We were trying to guess, you know, how expensive he was going to be. And we figured when there was a 6K range in the signature events, $13,000 is basically where he's at. There are a few ways that you can actually look at this. So if I use my Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups tool, I can look at this a few different ways. We can go in here, drill into the little podium and just select signature. We can also just look at 2026 and then we can sort, sort by salary, top to bottom. And you're going to see for this year, Scotty Scheffler in each of these signature events, first of all, what were his results? And then secondly, I have these columns over here that I've really never talked about. So if I actually wanted to, here's another way you can do this. If you want to filter out by just Scotty Scheffler, we can go into the golfer under the tournament stats filter and just put in Scotty. So we drill into Scotty, and now only Scotty shows up. Just did that to make it easier to look at. Can't zoom in any further. I just screwed it up. Hold on, let me do this. There we go. Okay. So when it comes to Sky Scheffler, again, I mentioned this. I didn't really ever touch upon this over here, but I've got a few different stat categories. DraftKings top 10, DraftKings top 20, DK optimal, GPP winner, sweet spot optimal, raw DK points, and all rounds under 70. The most important ones are basically the optimal, the GPP winner, and the sweet spot optimal. If there's a 1 next to their name or a 1 next to his name, that means he was a part of one of those lineups. So if you just look under the GPP winning category or the column here, and whenever there's a 1, that means he was a part of the GPP winning lineup. Now for this year, that only is the Memorial Tournament. Only for the Memorial. So all the signature events, only the Memorial was he part of the GPP winning lineup. Now I'll say this, that was the last signature event that the PGA Tour has played. He really hasn't paid off his price tag in other moments. Like he was 14,300 at the Genesis Invitational. There was no 5K range. In fact, if I actually go back into this podium and we uncheck his name, and then we sort by salaries the opposite way, you'll see there's no 5K range. We had a 5K range at the US Open. We don't have a 5K range at all in any of our signature events, which are awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That makes lineup building a little bit more challenging. But you can see he was in the DK top 20 for each of those events. He was only in the DK top 10 for 3 of those events, so 50%. He was only in 1 GPP winning lineup, and he was in into 2 sweet spot optimals. If you're like, well, what's the difference between a sweet spot optimal and GPP winning lineup? The sweet spot optimal is the best lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary or above, or above. That is also not the optimal lineup. So sometimes it could be the second best lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary and above. And of all the times I've recorded these lineups, 99% of the time, it beats out the GPP winning lineup. The only time it loses to the GPP winning lineup is when the GPP winning lineup is the optimal lineup, which has happened a few times in very limited fields like the Hero World Challenge. Sometimes it just happens. So, but that's the only time that the Sweet Spot Optimal does not beat the GPP. So that can give you a little bit more comfort that 2 of his events, he was in the Sweet Spot Optimal. But, you know, with that price tag, the big question is, do you play Scotty or do you not at his $13,800 price tag this week? Now, I only filtered out by signature events, but we could also, instead of doing all this, we could use strength of field, like we covered over the tournament information. You know, 680 to 780. Just put that in there. Now, this will include some of the major championships, I would imagine. Actually, it does not. It only includes the signature events. That's crazy. Here, let me go back. I want to do one more thing before I actually look at the strength of field. I'm going to go back and we're going to look back at signature events, and I'm going to include 2025 into this as well. So when we look at this, of all the Scotty Scheffler lineups, again, well, he actually missed out on 3 DK top 20s. The Memorial Tournament, top 10s, I'm sorry, top 10s. He has been a part of the DK top 20 every single tournament, every single signature event he's ever been in. He's only missed the DK top 10 in 3 of his events. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tournaments that he has played that are a signature event. He has been in the DK top 10 in 8 of those. So he's only missed 3 times. He's only been in 1 DK optimal, He has been in 3 GPP winning lineups, and he has been in 1, 2, 3, 4 sweet spot optimals. So it's not super great, but like he performs pretty darn good in every signature event he's ever been in. Does that give you enough confidence to play him this week? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the percentages just aren't there. That should give you 100% confidence in playing him in all of your lineups. But I think I might. I think I might. I'm feeling so strong about a Scotty victory this week. I think he's just right there, and I think this golf course, he's just going to eat this golf course up. I would not be surprised if Scotty Scheffler shoots a 59 this week. I think he's right on the precipice of just going in fuego, going lights out. Okay. Other ways that we can look at these popular lineups. Again, we could go ahead and put in the Travelers Championship. We could look at every year the Travelers Championship has played, and I have said this with Byron before. It doesn't really pan out. I said the AK range kind of reigns supreme, but of all the lineups that I keep track of, which again is the GPP winning lineup, the optimal, and the sweet spot optimal, 60% of those lineups have an AK golfer in them. I would have thought it was more, because there were a couple years where there were 3 8K golfers, and maybe it was just 1 year. Well, 2018 and 2015 or 2025 had 3 8K golfers in a lineup that was successful. Again, either the GPP winning lineup, the optimal, or the sweet spot optimal. But I do think, I mean, there are several. I don't know the best way to show you guys this. Maybe it's going, okay, so first and foremost, there are 25, let me scroll down a little bit, 25 total lineups that I have kept track of for the Travelers Championship dating back to 2017. If I go in here and I start with an AK golfer as golfer number 2, that goes down to 9, so it's 50%. Basically 50%. Was that right? No, 25. Never mind. It's not 50%. It's nearly 30. It's 40%. Sorry, 40%. So if we start with one AK golfer in the golfer 2 position, and then we do another AK golfer in the golfer 3 position, only goes down to 5. Never mind. I thought there'd be more multiple AK golfers, or there were going to be multiple lineups with multiple AK golfers in them. Doesn't seem to be that way. Okay. All right, never mind. I thought there would be more AK representation. There's not. And this is why I go over this, because when I talked to Byron earlier in the week, I had mentioned, oh, this is the tournament where the 8Ks come to shine. This is the pepper the 8K range type of tournament. I guess I have to go back on that because the stats don't bear that out. 10K golfers do pretty well. Every single year we've had at least, well, I should say every year, but most of the lineups that I have recorded have had at least one 7K golfer in those lineups, which makes sense. I mean, 7K, there's usually a lot of 7K golfers in each DraftKings contest, so that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Okay, another way to look at this would be kind of the similar ways that I've done it in the past, that I've shown you guys in the past. We can go into here, hit the little bullseye. You're going to see fantasy stats as well as historical lineup filters. You could use these filters here for any of the other tools that I have, but I think they actually shine the most in this historic salary builds page. So I like to look at lineups that use $49,600 of the salary and above. And just by putting that filter in, that removes 10 lineups to look at. So, and when we do that, I mean, there isn't much to see other than almost every lineup starts with a 10K golfer. It's one, or I should say there's 2 lineups that end up being the same type of lineup, 9, 3/8, and 2/7. Kind of what I was talking about with the AK range. The 2025 Travelers and the 2018 Travelers. The GPP winning lineup, the Sweet Spot Optimal. those two iterations, those yeah, 2 different years were the only years where a 10K golfer was not used, and it was for those particular lineups. So it looks like you definitely want a 10K golfer. And if we're kind of eyeballing this, 10-9, 10-9, 9-8, 10-10, 10-10, 10-8, 10-8, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9. Starting a lineup with a 10K golfer and a 9K golfer is probably the best way to go about it for the Travelers Championship. But if I get rid of this, the Travelers Championship, so we're not looking at a specific tournament, and I go back into this crosshairs filter. If I want to look at all tournaments where there was a golfer that was above $13,000, that's what you would do right here. So when we do that, this looks at every single event, every single tournament, and if there was at least one $13,000 golfer and above, it filters by that. So we are only looking at basically tournaments that Scotty has played in. Some of these have 5K golfers, some of these do not. So it is worth mentioning. You got to be careful with that. When there has been a $13,000 and above golfer, the most common lineup build is a 10-9-8-7-7-6, which if you've heard this jingle before, it comes from this channel. I'm the one that's basically coined it. 10-9-8-7-7-6. I've said it for forever. Shot Like Harden could attest to that. AJ Love could attest to that. Joanne could attest to that. These have been people that have followed this channel since basically the inception, the beginning. 10-9-8-7-7-6. And you can look at the tournaments that those lineups, were recorded. 2026 PGA Championship, that was not too long ago. 2026 RBC Heritage. 2026 Masters. 25 Charles Schwab. 24 RBC Heritage. We do have a Tour Championship, and those 2 tournaments right there, you could mostly ignore those. But outside of that, here's the big thing. Outside of that, the next most common lineup build is a 10-8, 2-7s, 2-6s. Look at the max salary. These are Scotty Scheffler lineups. 2026 American Express, 25 BMW, 25 Memorial, and the 25 Byron Nelson. So what? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 different tournaments that Scotty has shined. And if you want to know what a Scotty Scheffler lineup looks like, we can almost apply the same filters. Actually, what I would recommend is going to this page right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the big old eraser. Go here and basically look at each of these tournaments by themselves. And here, I'll do that just for you guys. We'll go into the American Express for 2026, and then we just drill down on one of these lineups. If we want to look at the GPP winning lineup, well, Scotty Scheffler won that event. And it went Scotty Scheffler at $14,200, followed by Jason Day at 81, Keith Mitchell at 75, Matt McCarty at 72, Eric Cole at 66, and Andrew Putnam at 63. If you want to build a Scotty Scheffler lineup using the optimizer, we can go ahead and drill into here and go yes for Scotty. And then if we want to build at least one 8K golfer, we can go into here and type in 1 for 8K, and we'll see what kind of lineup we get. Maybe we build a lineup very similar to what we just saw. Well, Scotty Scheffler, Harris English, Justin Rose, Gerard, Fowler, Ryan Fox. Okay, well, maybe you don't like that one. Ryan Fox gets kicked up because there's a no there. We go ahead, drill down on this again. Oh my God, we get Jason Day. But it's another Harris English lineup. Well, guess what? What if you don't like Harris English? I actually like Aaron Rye. Let's put Aaron Rye in here and see what kind of lineup we can get with Aaron Rye. There we go. Scheffler, Rye, Rose, Bridgman, Fowler, Pendrith. Very similar to this. It's 14-2, 81, 75, 72, 66, 63. Instead, we get 13-8, 8, 79, 72, 67, 64. Pretty darn close, right? Pretty darn close. You can continue to click this and we can see different iterations of lineups being built. Maybe you don't like Aaron Ryan. Maybe you want to go the Kenny Kim route and go Kurt Kitayama. This might actually break the optimizer. We probably are going to have to choose either Jake Knapp or Ryan Gerard because of the marquee tee times, but we can take a look. Yeah, Ryan Gerard gets added, but it's a Scheffler, Kitayama, Woodland, Gerard, Jason Day, Mac Meisner. Well, I like Mac Meisner way more than I like Jason Day, so I'm going to bring him back to life, and we're going to kick out Jason Day. I don't want to see any more Jason Day. Brandt Snedeker. Guess what, guys? Brandt Snedeker is playable this week. He is playable this week. But I want to see something else. There, the Tom Hoagie guys in the chat. Kurt Kitayama, right? You get Aaron Rye in there, Bud Cauley, Ricky Fowler, and Tom Hoagie. Lovely. Now, 2 AKs, probably not the best. If you wanted to really trim that out, just go ahead and put 1 as your max for AK, and we'll see what goes. It breaks. Optimizer doesn't like that. So there are limited options that you can do with building lineups that way. And that is very narrow. That is a very narrow way of building lineups. We can look at a different tournament, not the American Express. So if we go into and look at the 2025 BMW or the 2025 Memorial, just click out of that, clear that. Let's look at BMW is going to be right here. Which lineup was that with the BMW? Was it the GPP winner? It was. Okay. So GPP winner, 34, 81, 78, 75, 72, 6K flat. So there's a different way to look at it. 13, 8, 3 7s, and a 6. Which is interesting. That must have had a 5K range. Yeah, well, that's something to look at again. There's not 2 6Ks there. That's 3 7s. BMW, I need to look at that one again. Okay. Memorial. You look at the Memorial, it's a 13-3, 8,000 flat, 78, 77, 67, 65. That looks just like one of the lineups we just built. Now, there isn't a 1-to-1 match or a 1-to-1 correlation that you need to do with building lineups. I'm just showing you guys what some of these lineups look like. There are different ways to attack this. You can look at different lineup builds. If you are dead set on a Scotty Scheffler, I mean, this looks like a Scotty Scheffler lineup right here. 10, 8, 7, and 3 6s. 2026 Memorial Tournament as the Sweet Spot Optimal. So if I go into here and we go Sweet Spot Optimal, there you go. Scheffler at 13.5 with a Burns at 8,800, Wyndham Clark at 73, and then we get 69, 69, 66. Well, we can build that. We do not need to include Kurt Kitayama, but let's say we still want 1 8K golfer, and just say we don't want more than 1 8K golfer. We can go ahead and run this. Let's kick out Harris English because he's going to continue to show up. Aaron Rye, I mean, but look at this lineup. This is such a good lineup. Scheffler, Rye, Rose, Gerard, Cole, and Berger. I really do like Rye this week, but I'm going to kick him out. Scheffler, Griffin, Rose, Gerard. Let's kick out Gerard too. I'm going to really make the optimizer work to build me some lineups. Scheffler, Griffin, Poston. All right, so we're still stuck in this low AK range. I just want to see something up high. There we go. We get our 3 6K golfers. I get Scheffler, Cantlay. It's JT Poston season, ladies and gentlemen. Noren, Cole, and Hubbard. That's one way to build lineups. I can also clear all of these 6K golfers and just see it'll do something different. And it sure did. Scheffler, Cantlay, Batia, Fowler, Fox, Pendrith. So again, this is another way to build lineups. This type of lineup works just fine as well. So, ooh, Sung J M with this lineup. Again, we'll explore more lineup building later on in this video. So if you guys want to build Scheffler lineups, I'm just kind of showing you what it looks like. You can certainly do. You can pair Scheffler up with just about anybody, and we can build some decent lineups. So that's all that I'm going to cover with the historic salary, or really the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'll check the chat. We'll do, let's do a roll call. Roll call number 1. Who's your winner this week? Let's see it in the chat. Go ahead, put your roll calls in. Logan says Scotty. I don't know where I'm at too. Let's see here. Do you have stats on Hoagie? I heard he plays well here. Sure, we can look at Hoagie. The Hoagsters. Actually, we'll go to the cheat sheet. AJ, this is free. You can go here too. Go to course history. Scroll down to Tom Hoagie. Right here. He's got a 45th place finish in 2025, a 3rd in 2024, then it's 68 miscut, 66, 37th, 80 miscut. So no, he does not play well here. He does not play well here. But things can change. Things can change. AJ is going with Burnsy. Hey man, I don't mind that. Ryan Henson says Wyndham Clark back to back. Denny goes with Morikawa. Lombardi Lee with Fleetwood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 there. I'll add more people as they want to participate. But I'm going to move on to the bucket system. You guys can follow along with me when it comes to the bucket system by going to the cheat sheet. Well, there's 2 ways you could follow. Either go to the cheat sheet, scroll down to this cheat sheet, and you'll get a page that looks like this. This is the dream sheet. There's a lot of sheets, I know. Go to the bucket system. It looks a lot like this. And you can apply filters to your bucket system, your cheat sheet, however you want. I'm going to go ahead and use my page, which looks like this. And I'm going to use the website, and I'm going to use this. What you guys could also do is go to the bucket system at SweetSpotDFS.com. I think this is a better way to see what types of golfers have done well in their respective buckets. So under Fantasy Tools, you go to the bucket system. You can see the summaries of top 10s, optimal lineups, top 5s, top 20s, all that good stuff. You can see all of the buckets here, their success percentage. So of all the golfers that have ever been in this bucket, what's their success of finishing inside the top 10? The frequency just means going all the way back to 2013 for most of these buckets. Some of them go back to 2017, like the salaries, 2018 for strokes gain stats. But from when I started to record those stats, how many of them for each of the years have had at least one golfer inside the top 10? That's where the frequency comes into play. One way to look at this, to just, hand look at it or just to manually look at it, if you scroll down and you drill out of any of the buttons that have been selected, so they're all black, this gives you a total count. If I went up here and say, I want to know what this 91.67% frequency looks like for last year 1, you drill down into the last year 1 cell there, field, if you want to call it. And now all we see are last year ones here. Okay, so of all these years, if I drill down into top 10 counts, what is the 1 year we didn't have a top 10? 2016. 2016 is really the only year. We don't count 2013 because I don't have stats that go back to 2012. It goes back to 2013. So to have a last year stat, I don't keep track of 2012 stats. So 2013 has to be ignored. So we ignore that 0 there. This 0 here is the problematic one. So what happened in 2016? Now I can drill into here, scroll up, and look, this is my Travelers Championship in 2016 that failed to produce a top 10. We can see all the golfers that were in this bucket. Now, this is just giving you the golfers in the bucket. I think it's probably worthwhile to look at the entire field and determine why did this bucket not succeed. But if we look at it, look at all the names. You had Karl Casey, who was a good golfer back then. Bubba Watson was also a good golfer back then. Sung Yul No, not so much. Chris Stroud, not so much. Gary Woodland, yeah, he was pretty decent. Zach Johnson was good back then. Martin Laird, not so much. David Toms, I mean, he had to have been close to being on the Champions Tour back in 2016. John Curran, you haven't heard of that guy in forever. Jason Gore's old as hell. Ken Dukes, same thing. Brendan Todd, I mean, he was pretty decent back in the day. Same too with Luke Donald, but he was towards the end of his career. There's Brian Harmon, which is actually the beginning of his career, believe it or not, or closer to the beginning of his career. Mark Wilson was old. Kyle Stanley, like, obviously should have been better than that. Stephen Bowditch. If I scroll down and we drill out of this 2016, and I go back up here and we drill back down into the last year one bucket, and then we select the year of 2016, just to take a look at every, actually, no, I'm sorry. Let's drill out of that bucket. Now we're looking at the entire field. This is the year Russell Knox won. If you went into the bucket IDs, just drill down in the bucket IDs, now you can see which bucket they all belong to. You can see last year 5s and 6s kind of reigned supreme this year. It's kind of crazy. There were no salaries back then, so I can't really tell you, the golfers that should have been priced high. No idea, who the best golfers were in the field. You kind of just have to do an eye check and see which golfers those are. But anyways, that's the only year a last year one did not perform well enough to be inside the top 10. But believe it or not, every year there's been salaries that DraftKings has provided. One of them has been in the optimal lineup. Not all of them have been in the top 5. Or not all of them, I should say. There's been years where we did not see a top 5 performer from the last year one bucket. But you can do this with each bucket. Each bucket, you scroll down, you drill into each of these buckets. You can see the golfers that were a part of them. You can go down and see what years that they failed to produce a top 10. Kind of do your own analysis and try to figure out why. Why is this? Why did this happen? Why was there not a top 10 or a top 5 or an optimal lineup? All that good stuff. But I'm not going to deep dive. Here's what I'll say. If you have access to the website, this is the page that you should absolutely be looking at all the time to figure out which buckets perform the best. And then you cross-reference that with the cheat sheet right here, and you use the little bucket IDs that are here. So if you want to look at all the golfers that are in the last year one bucket, that's all you got to do. Drill down in the bucket icon. This opens up the filters. You put in last year one. And sure enough, here you go. Here are all the golfers that are in that last year one bucket. We have 22 total golfers. 22. Do we think there's going to be at least one of these guys finishing inside the top 10? Oh, hell yes. It'd be ridiculous not to think we're going to have a top 10 from this bucket. But now you get to see all the golfers. Now, that's one way of doing it. One thing I have not yet been able to put to the website are these projections. So I have projections of how many golfers from each of these buckets I think are going to finish inside the top 10. So for that last year one bucket, I have 2.71 for the minimum projection. The maximum projection, I have 5.42. So anybody new here, we always round down with the minimum. We always round up with the maximum. And there has to be a 2-point gap between the two. So this 0.19 to 0.38, yeah, there's only 4 golfers in that bucket, but really the projection would be 0 to 2. 0 to 2. And you would apply that to each of these buckets. Now, some of them on the optimizer, I have 0 to 1. Like the last week 4, or the last year 5, the last year 4. And that has a lot to do with how many golfers are in each of those buckets. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at each of these buckets, or we're going to look to see which one's Scottie Scheffler, which bucket Scottie Scheffler is in. Because he is going to determine how these projections really shake out. Here's I know this is going to be surprising to people, but Scottie Scheffler is just going to be inside the top 10. He's just going to be. We have to figure out a way to either ignore him or play him. So, the easiest way to do is just look at all the buckets that Scottie Scheffler is a part of. Last year 1, or strokes gained 1, course history 2, recent form 1, last year 1, last week 1. For each of those buckets that he's a part of, I would just reduce the minimum down 1. So he was a last year 1. We can go ahead and make this a 1 to 6. But there's a maximum of 6, which is the max. You know, you're building lineups of 6 golfers. It doesn't really matter if you have this as a 2 or a 1. But we'll push it down to a 1. Last week 1, he's also in this bucket, so we'll move the minimum down to a 1. He's in the course history 2 bucket. Now, here's the thing. I have looked at the course history 2 bucket, and I will say this, even with Scottie Scheffler in that bucket, so we'll just look at the course history 2 bucket, there are enough golfers from this bucket that I think are going to produce top 10 results. So, John Valentine, there's your boys, Tommy Fleetwood and Xander Schauffele. They're both in the same bucket that Scottie Scheffler's in. Here's the thing. This is the thing I've learned going over the bucket system so much. These 3 golfers could be the only 3 golfers that represent top 10 finishers from this bucket. So again, we are looking at the course history 2 bucket. If I go back to my spreadsheet and we go to the bucket system, course history 2 is right here. 2.40 to 4.80. That is the projection. So 2 to 5. 2 to 5. Well, what if those 3 goobers that I was just showing you guys, Scheffler, Fleetwood, and Xander, all finish inside the top 10? That satisfies this projection. This projection of 2 to 5, because 3 of them finish inside the top 10. Well, when we look at that, if it was Scheffler finishing first place, Tommy finishing 3rd, and Xander finishing 5th, the likelihood you could even play 2 of these golfers would be pretty low. You could probably do a Fleetwood and a Xander lineup. You could, but I bet you anything that Scheffler lineup is going to perform better as long as there are at least 2 6K golfers that finish inside the top 10. Which, again, we can do that type of analysis. How many golfers in the 6K range finish inside the top 10? Or we could use this Pass Optimal Lineups page, and we could do it a couple different ways, but let's go ahead and just look at the Travelers. So if I were to type in Travelers and say 2026, 25, 24, these are all the years that it's a signature event. Actually, let's put in 2023. And then let's just go ahead, drill into here. I only want to look at DK Top Let's go DK top 20s. So drill into the little yes button here. And I want to look at also the price range. So let's go 6,000 to 6,900. And now we're only looking at 6K golfers, and we can go year by year. So actually, let's drill out at all of these and go into 2023. Zach Blair, 6,300, finished second. Ches Reavie finished fourth. Alex Smalley finished ninth. We also had a 15th place finish and a 19th place finish. They were all, not all, never mind. Well, they were all in the DK top 20. Yeah, they were all in the DK top 20. At a 6K price tag, that's pretty good, and it's going to be good enough to pair up with Scottie Scheffler. 2024, we had 0 top 10 golfers. This is when it became a signature event. 16th, 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 and 20th. None of them were in the optimal, or none of them were in the top 10. All of them DK top 20. Matthew Pavon, believe it or not, was in the optimal lineup. And then Ricky Fowler was in the sweet spot optimal, which is kind of crazy. 2025, we had 1 top 10 finisher in Lucas Glover, $6,200. Again, these all finished inside the DK top 20. Only Glover and Eckroat were the guys that finished inside the top 10, and only Eckroat was in the optimal lineup and the sweet spot optimal. So this is kind of interesting. What it's kind of showing us that the 6K range isn't really performing that well when it comes to this tournament. And I'm actually going to move this a little bit further back because I don't even know if there was a 5K range ever for these events. So 2025 doesn't look like there was, and if there was, it wasn't successful. Same thing with 2024. Doesn't look like it would have been successful if there was one. So crazy. This is why we go over this, because now knowing that, I don't really feel that comfortable putting like 2 or 3 6K golfers together with Scottie Scheffler. Well, I'm not finding any success from the 6K range at this event. Sure, the cream can rise to the top. That's why I'm bumping down each of these course histories. And in fact, or not course histories, each of these buckets that Scottie Scheffler's in. Just don't feel that comfortable. So I'm going to move that course history 2 bucket down to a 1. If I look at the other buckets he's a part of the recent form 1 bucket, the strokes gain 1 bucket, and he's also that 10K golfer and above. So recent form 1 is already 0 to 2. Perfect. Strokes gain 1 is 2 to 5. Let me double check that with this. So strokes gain 1. Yeah, 2 to 5. Well, let's take a look at the golfers that are in that bucket just to double check that we should move it down 1. So I'll make sure I clear out all the other buckets and just go to strokes gain 1. 15 total golfers. 2 of them do not have course history. Have never played here before. We have Xander and Tommy up there yet again to go along with Scottie Scheffler. And then we have a ton of 9K golfers. So here's again, this is how you have to be looking at these things. If we're analyzing this the same way, we're using the bucket system, we're trying to figure out how many golfers from each of these buckets we want to put in our lineups. I think for this bucket, we just ignore or strokes gain 1. I think even if we remove Scottie Scheffler out of this bucket is still good enough to have a high projection. In fact, here, this is what I'm going to do. We already know all the buckets that Scottie Scheffler's in, right? So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to clear out Scottie Scheffler's name here. I'm also going to go into here, and I will clear out Scottie Scheffler's name right there. And now when we look at these bucket projections, last year 1, which was a bucket he's a part of, still stays 2 to 6. Still stays at 2 to 6. And what did I bump this down to 1 to 6? Okay, so I'm going to bump it back up to 2 to 6. The last week 1 is now 1 to 4, which I think was the same. No, it was 1 to 5. So Scotty actually really bumps that one up. Course history 2 stays at 2 to 5. Okay, well, you know what? I'm a believer. We'll go ahead and put it 2 to 5. Recent form 1 is really low, 0 to 2. That's fine. Strokes gain 1 goes almost down to 1. 2.10 to 4.20. So that's a 2 to 5 bucket. Oh, that is so close to being less than 2. So close. I'm going to hit the back button a couple times. That'll bring Scotty Scheffler back from when I deleted him. That doesn't really drop that much. Okay. Strokes gain 1. I'm going to keep 2 to 5. That's fine. And when it comes to salaries, it's not anchoring around Scotty Scheffler whatsoever. So we'll just keep it like this, 0 to 2. Actually, I want to kick out Scotty again and look at my salaries this way. 0 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think when it comes down to the bucket projections, we're pretty spot on. I think they look good right now. I did move some back. If you get the optimizer and you don't want to do this, that is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So, yeah. I think that's all. I'm not going to go through each of these buckets and look at each of the golfers. I would say this. I gave you the tools to do so yourself. I think if you want to go ahead and do that, by all means do so. One thing to note, those conditionals are in the optimizer. So we're going to start building lineups here pretty soon. They'll already be included. The bucket system is in here, but I did give you the tools to analyze it yourself if you want to go and look. So that's it for the bucket system. We're going to move on to the marquee tee times pretty soon. Let me double check. I saw Logan come in and post something pretty long. Been waiting for the week to anchor to Scotty. His price is depressed despite being the world's best, and the 6K tier is a total cheat code. Value plays like Suber, Connorsberger, and Sepp all have top 20 upside, jamming Scotty for safety and pivoting around those mispriced scrubs, going 80% exposure. If I'm wrong, I'll lose my ass. I do think Scotty's going to win this week. Like, it's hard for me not to. It just feels like all the tea leaves are pointing towards a Scotty Scheffler victory. Does JT Poston do well here? Again, certainly could go to the cheat sheet. Course history. Actually, let's eraser button. Course history. Go down to JT Poston. He does not. He's got terrible course history. He has 1 second place finish. He had a string of missed cuts from 2020 back to 2017. If you want to ignore those, he has a second place finish, a missed cut, and then when they became signature events, he's got a 55th and a 45th place finish. I don't know why. This seems like a golf course he should play really well at. It's not that long. It doesn't really require that much stress off of the tee, which is he's not super great with. I don't get it. I don't know. It doesn't mean you shouldn't play him. I almost got Hoagie, but like James better. Okay. The bucket system should maybe be free if you're going to stop doing the Excel sheet. No, I don't think so. No, if anything, Ryan, that would be more exclusive to the people spending money to look at this. And then you can just use this podcast or this video of me showing you the golfers that are good in each of those buckets. JK Lawrence, what's going on? Am golfer, no more Excel sheet, shaking my effing head. It just takes a lot of time. I don't get paid to do it either. That's the thing. It's free, you know. So, and this cheat sheet's available for you guys. You can use this cheat sheet right here. This is free. SweetSpotDFS.com. This cheat sheet is free. It'll always be free. This is what I'm providing you guys right here. This is my favorite, one of my favorite tools on here. All right. Moving on to the marquee tee times right now. One man's opinion is another man's displeasure. It's true. All right. Speaking of spreadsheeting, this will also be something that will be on the website. Before I dismiss the spreadsheets, this will be put on the website. So I have to, otherwise it would make no sense to get away from the spreadsheets. So anyways, when it comes to the marquee tee times, I have this split out by the 9 best groups in the field, the 9 best twosomes, because they're going out in twosomes. Normally they go out in threesomes. And if you're wondering, oh, hey, does it matter more for twosomes than threesomes? Well, here, I'll show you. If we look back last year, by the way, out of these 9 top groups, we want to select 2 to 4 golfers to build lineups around, because most of the time throughout all the tournaments, we find 2 to 4 golfers from the marquee tee times, either in the GPP winning lineup, the optimal, the sweet spot, all of them combined, or just one of them separately. So if we go back to 2025, I have Patrick Cantlay and Keegan Bradley that were in the GPP winning lineup. Cantlay was part of group 2, Bradley was part of group 3. So you go we got 2 golfers there. Only one optimal lineup golfer, but I did have 3 sweet spot optimals. And again, sweet spot optimal is the best lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary and above. Not named the optimal lineup. So we had 3 golfers there. So 1 year that worked out perfectly. 2024, if I look back here, I actually have 3 golfers that are in the optimal lineup. Oh, take that back. 4 golfers in the optimal lineup. 3 of them in the sweet spot optimal. I guess I didn't keep track of the GPP winning lineup. Doesn't really matter. Not that big of a deal. That's okay. 2023. This is when they had threesomes. So Rory was in the optimal lineup. Patrick Cantlay was in the optimal lineup. Keegan Bradley was in the optimal lineup. I also have Scotty in the sweet spot optimal, Ricky in the sweet spot optimal, and Keegan in the sweet spot optimal. Keegan was also in the GPP winning lineup. Cantlay was in the GPP winning lineup, and so too was Ricky. All of those iterations did not play together in the same group. In the same group. So, and what's it, 2022? Do I have the same thing here? Here we go. Finau was in the sweet spot optimal. He was in group 3. Cantlay was in group 4. He was also in the sweet spot optimal. I only had 2 sweet spot optimal lineups that time. Only one optimal lineup, it looks like, in Patrick Cantlay. But I did have 3 GPP winners from the marquee tee times. So again, yeah, maybe one lineup didn't really provide us with a lot of results, or not one lineup. The optimal lineup of the 4 years I looked at, 2 of them only produced 1 golfer in the marquee tee times. So, or in the optimal lineup from the marquee tee times. But I just went over all those other lineups that either win you money or could have won you money if you followed the sweet spot process. Going back to 2026, here are your twosomes. Scotty and Burns, which sucks because I would have loved to put Scotty and Burns in a lineup. You certainly can. You can break the mold. You can do that. That's absolutely fine. Matt Fitzpatrick, Justin Thomas is in group 2. Group 3 is Fleetwood and Clark. Group 4 is Xander and Colin Morikawa. Group 5 is Cameron Young and Russell Henley. Group 6 is Oberg and Ben Griffin. Group 7 is Patrick Cantlay and Robert McIntyre. That's got to be the most boring group to go watch. Group 8 is Jake Knapp and Ryan Gerard. And Group 9 is Mav McNeely and Aaron Rai. Those are your 9 best groups in this field. And my suggestion is to select 2 to 4 of those groups and only pick one golfer from each of them. So this is how we're, this is going to segue into building lineups. I will say this. Scottie Scheffler is one of my favorite golfers to play this week. I think he's going to win the event. All of these golfers, except for Jake Knapp and Ryan Gerard, are 8K and above. But guess what? You can pair Scottie with any of these 8K golfers, any of them. Whether it's Mav McNeely at 8,700, Aaron Rai at 8,000, Bobby Mack at 81, Cantlay at 89, Griffin at 82. You could also even go up to Russell Henley at 9,000, even Colin Morikawa at 92, or Justin Thomas at 91. I would almost leave it there, though. I think you could maybe reach to Wyndham Clark if you wanted to at 94, but then it gets a little, I mean, getting into the 9K range with Scottie Scheffler becomes very difficult. I can show you quickly what lineups would look like with Scottie Scheffler and at least one 9K golfer. Can easily do this in the optimizer by making sure it selects one 9K and just showing you what it looks like. Yeah, this lineup right now looks really good. Scheffler at 13.8, Morikawa at 92, Matsuyama at 73, Fowler, Fox, Meisner. That one's fine. Scheffler, Henley, Rose, Fox, Penrith, Berger. Lovely. Scheffler, Morikawa, Matsuyama, Fowler, Fox, Brandt, Snedeker. It's doable. Matt McCarty is doable with Tony Finau. I mean, these are lineups that you probably aren't really going to be building. There we go. There's Jackson Suber to go for Logan. Scheffler, Morikawa, Matsuyama. I mean, if you don't like that combo, we can kick one of these golfers out. Let's kick out Matsuyama. I'm actually going to kick out Fox. Fox might even be a really good play this week. I just don't want to continue seeing the same golfers happening over and over and over again. I'll bring back Suber and Meisner because I think those are good plays. I don't want Jason Day. This is probably the week that he actually plays well. Coming from that withdraw, it's going to hurt us, right? Scheffler, Cam Young, Gerard, Hall, Finau, and Meisner. Okay, so that works. You can get up to $9,600 with Cam Young. Isn't that crazy? Scheffler, Henley. That goes down to Jackson. Ooh, Smalley, Cole, and Suber. It does include Bridgman, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know. I feel like he just lost. He lost so much when it comes to steam from earlier in the year. I'm going to do something like this. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I want to see another Jackson Suber and Mac Meisner lineup. Scheffler, Henley, Bud Cauley, Gerard, Smalley, Meisner. That's fine. Another Henley lineup. Maybe we could go Henley. Let's see 9,200. Oh, let me bring back Meisner. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but I want to see a good Meisner. Yeah, this lineup is fine too. I want to see a good Meisner Suber lineup with Colin Morikawa. Yeah, like this. This is fine. Scheffler, Morikawa, Gerard, Smalley, Harry Hall, Meisner. Looks good. We had Jackson Suber with Harry Hall, Fowler, Bud Cauley. So there's a lot of different ways we can go about building lineups this week if we go with the 10K and a 9K, or Scheffler with the 9K. So with that being said, I'll bring the screen back up. I want you guys, with any of you guys that have badges next to your name, let's build some lineups for you guys. Find me 2 to 4 golfers you want to anchor your lineups around, and we will use the optimizer to build lineups from there. In the meantime, I'm gonna put some music on. It's only free if you actually enjoy the stream, so like the stream. Can you lock in Scotty, Im, and Suber and remove Henley, Fox, and Rose? Yeah, I mean, I can build those lineups for you if you want. I'll start with that just for you. Can you lock in Scotty, Im, and Suber? Sure. Scotty, Sungjae, Suber. We get Scheffler, Cam Young, Jacob Bridgman, Ryan Fox, Sungjae Im, Suber. Let's kick out Bridgman. Scheffler, Griffin, Rose, Gerard, Im, and Jackson Suber. It's a pretty solid lineup. 10-8, 2 7s, 2 6s. I'm going to kick out Ryan Gerard. This should be a good golf course for Gerard, by the way. And now we get Scheffler, Cantlay, Rose, Im, Berger, and Suber. Go ahead and kick out Berger. This should be a good golf course for Danny Berger, but who knows? Now we get Hoagie. You get Scheffler, Cantlay, Rose, Im, Suber, Hoagie. That one's pretty good. Scotty, Morikawa, Spieth. Oh, Spieth? Ooh, Fox, Im, and Suber. I'm going to kick out Fox. I kind of like the idea of having Spieth in these lineups. By the way, Fox, the optimizer loves Fox, and I do not. Probably a good time to play Fox. Not even lying. There we go. This is the lineup I'm looking for right here, Logan. Scheffler, Justin Thomas, JT Poston. So we get 2 JTs. Alex Smalley, Sungjae Im, and Jackson Suber. That's what I'd be looking for right there. Pick Rose and Fox, please. Yep. I did. I was already, the wavelengths were happening between you and I. All right. Replacing it with Fleetwood and Burns. Sorry, I didn't save those lineups. I'm not sure. We could save them. I'm not sure if I care to save lineups. Fleetwood, Burns. We get Fleetwood, Burns, English, Rose, Matsuyama, Bridgman. I guess I'll save them. Actually, I don't know. If I save them, then players just get skipped because I don't have this at 100%. I'm just going to mess around with it. Hit the run optimizer again. Fleetwood, Burns, Griffin, Rose, Matsuyama, Gerard. Fleetwood, Oberg, Burns, Bridgman, Smalley, Fox. Okay. Fleetwood, Burns, Spawn, Rose, Matsuyama, Bridgman. Fleetwood, Burns, McNeely, Rose, Gerard, and Ricky Fowler. That one's fine. Fleetwood, Burns, Kitayama, Rose, Bridgman, Gerard. Ooh. That one's fine. I don't really care for Gerard or Bridgman or Day. Oh, that had a Goddard lineup. Sorry. I should have talked through that one. Fleetwood, Burns, Hovland. There you go. 10-9-8-7-7-6. Fleetwood, Burns, Hovland, Rose, Bridgman, Fox. Yeah, I don't really care for those guys. Another 10-9-8-7-7-6. Fleetwood, Burns, Kitayama, Rose, Matsuyama, Straka. I like that one. I'm building more than 5 lineups for you guys. Best thing to say for me building you guys lineups, pause the video, or look at the timestamps below and see like just look so you can keep track of the lineups I'm building for you guys. Let me build one more. There you go, another Goddard lineup. Fleetwood, Burns, Goddard, Rose, Bridgman, Harry Hall. It's a lot of Bridgman. Not a huge fan of Bridgman. All right, Scotty and Rye. There we go. Ryan Henson. That's what I like to see. That's what I'm feeling. Mr. Rye. Scotty Rye. Scheffler, Rye, Rose, Gerard, Fowler, Fox. I'm gonna kick out Gerard. Feels like the optimizer is just cheating and trying to find that third guy to put in there. Scheffler, Rye, Rose, Bridgman, Fox, Day. Don't really care for that one. Scheffler, Rye, Rose. Okay, that's a lot of Rose. If you like Rose, wonderful. I am going to kick him out. I'd rather have Harmon than Justin Rose. Scheffler, Rye, Poston. I'd much rather have Poston than Bridgman. What the heck has Bridgman been doing lately, by the way? Nothing good that I know of. Ooh, I need to put Mitchell's price tag back in there. My bad. All right, so what's Bridgman been doing lately? Finished, did not play the US Open. Didn't qualify for the US Open? Wait a minute. Huh? Hold on. Let me hit the eraser. Bridgman. Oh, he was in the US Open. Okay, there we go. There we go. I had filters on. Bridgman, 39th at the US Open. Approach was good. 11th at the Canadian Open. Approach was good. Memorial, he had good off the tee and approach. He was above, he was above break even for ball striking at the PGA Championship, but missed the cut. Maybe he's trending back to being good. Okay, well, I have to listen to the optimizer every time that I kind of don't. It proves me wrong. So yeah, maybe Bridgman's okay. But I'm going to kick out Ryan Fox. Actually, let's kick out Ricky Fowler. Rose Fox anchors every lineup. I know. Yeah, I still haven't figured out if that's like the way to go or if that's the way to ignore. Scheffler, Rye, Spieth, Sam Stevens, Alex Smalley, Ryan Fox. Hey, that one's pretty decent. I actually really like that one. I'm gonna kick out Ryan Fox. I need to look at Ryan Fox. What the heck has he been up to? Just finished 23rd at the US Open, was 8th at the RBC Canadian, 27th at Memorial, 35th at PGA. So he's pretty solid. In the 6K range, he's been pretty solid. Nearly a strokes gained 1 golfer, by the way. Okay. Yeah, I kind of just want to see other lineups though. Scheffler, Rye, Lowry, Matsuyama, Smalley, Meisner. That is interesting. I like that. That one's good. Scheffler, Rye, Batia, Colley, Noren, Smalley. Noren is like the ultimate disappointment. Just like, when is this guy ever going to win? Missed cut at the US Open, missed cut at the Canadian Open, 9th at Memorial, 26th at PGA. You know what? I think he's just so mental. The amount of practice he does is just not good enough. He has to practice as much as he does just to be as good as he is, which if he was ever going to break through, it would already have happened. What's up, B-Mac? Tell us, Master Binkett. Scheffler, Rice, Spieth, JT Poston, Smalley, Danny Berger. That's a good lineup. I like that one. There you go. I've built one good lineup for each of you guys that have requested a lineup to be built. All money, baby. Buckets only. Do we have any other lineups that want to be built? I had AJ and I have Mr. Henson. B-Mac is looking right now. Can I try Scotty and Harmon? Sure. Scotty and Byron Harmon, remember? Byron. Keep those guys kicked out. I'll bring back Fox just for this one. We'll bring back Meisner and Danny Berger. That's fine. Scheffler, Cantlay, Harmon, Smalley, Meisner, Berger. Holy guacamole. I like that lineup. Holy. Scheffler, Cam Young, Brian Harmon, Finau, McCarty, and Snedeker. Gross, dude. Scheffler, McNeely, Harmon, Smalley, Finau, Berger. Okay. That one's fine too. That one's fine as well. Teddy KGB. Oh my God, Teddy KGB. I love the name. Love the name. Akshay, he says. I did build an Akshay lineup earlier. I don't even remember when it was. It was in the stream though. I was going over something and it looked really good. Adam Scott, Bud Cauley, top 20. Got Bud Cauley. Yeah, Adam Scott, I guess, wouldn't be terrible. I mean, I really liked him last week and he just disappointed. Have you ever reverse engineered your system and started to X out all the players you didn't want to see what it built from the remaining players? Yes, I have. I have done that. When I get into a moment of where I feel like when I'm building lineups, I don't have a clear path as to what I want to do. I usually start at the bottom and I X out all the golfers that I just don't think are going to be good. And I just go from there. Taking a reverse engineer deep dive like that usually reveals some fascinating insights. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it just reveals the things that you already knew. Kitayama versus Rai. Teddy KGB, I say both. I like them both. They're probably worth putting in a lineup together, honestly. I don't like this. I like Suber, but whatever. Oh, and then it breaks. Interesting. So there's some glue pieces that need to be included. All right, so we've already built this one. Scotty, Cantlay, Harmon, Smalley, Meisner, Berger. I love it. Scotty Goddard, Harmon, Gerard, Fox, Snedeker. There we go. This is a lineup that I actually can get behind. Scheffler, Goddard, Harmon, Gerard, Finau, and Suber. Scheffler, McNeely, Harmon, Bud Colley, Pendrith, and Berger. That one's fine. Scheffler, McNeely, Harmon, Smalley, Finau, Berger. Sure, I can do that one. That one's just ugly enough to be good. Then it breaks. Okay, so Brian Harmon with Scotty. Those lineups are very difficult to do, apparently. Very difficult to do. Huh. I only do splash tiers, so it's picking guys in different tiers. Any experience or thoughts on that? Are you talking about the DraftKings contests of tiers? Or what are you talking about? Splash tiers? I'm not sure what that is. I feel like that is how I'd best use to expose my bias. So because I build 100 lineups, Logan, it is very difficult for me to go player by player and figure out which golfers I just don't want to play and which golfers I do. I think everybody in this field's live, except for Brian Campbell. Actually, Brian Campbell's even live. I'd probably say no to Lucas Glover. The best way I think to attack this week is find 2 to 4 golfers to anchor your lineups around, and of course that kind of coincides with the marquee tee times, but find 2 to 4 golfers to build your lineups around and go from there. You know, I almost would rather build like Scheffler, Kitayama lineups, and then in the optimizer I would actually go down one in the marquee tee times, because here's the other thing too. Sure. Well, I shouldn't say sure. Because of Scotty Scheffler, him being in the marquee tee time, chances are you'll have Fleetwood, Xander, some of those other high-priced golfers also being in the marquee tee times, or inside the top 10, and you won't be able to play all 3 of them or even 2 of them. You kind of got to look at the marquee tee times a lot like the other buckets. So I could probably do something like this and not have to worry about a Gerard always showing up in my lineups, but apparently he is. I really don't want Gerard. Gerard's going to get picked so much because he is in the marquee tee times and he's a low price golfer with a good score, a good metric next to his name. But I'd be really interested in building Scheffler, Kitayama lineups and just seeing where it goes from there. The more I'm building these lineups, the more I just don't like the 6K range. I just don't. I'm not enjoying any of these. I'm really not enjoying a lot of these lineups that are being built. There are only a few names that I like, and I do not want to fall in love with the 6K range. I would just go to the bucket system, highlight that 6K, this 6K, and just see which golfers. Let's remove any years. And I just want to look at golfers that finish inside the top 15 every single year. And just kind of look at the correlation of buckets. Glover, Benny Ann in 2025. Nobody in 2024. 2023 was Blair, Reevy, Molly, Carson Young, Doug Gim. Most of them didn't play in the US Open, or they missed the cut. Actually, look at this. Almost everybody did not play in the US Open, or they missed the cut. 2020 doesn't count. Don't look at 2020. Dude, everybody. Michael Thorbjornsen, young boy, 2022, missed the cut. Scott Stallings, old guy, missed the cut. Carson Young, relatively young, missed the cut. Benny Ann, old guy, and Lucas Glover, old guy, all missing the cut in the 6K range. So there you go. If I go to the cheat sheet, we just look at the 6K range, salary 5 and 6. And I want to look at last year 5s, or last week 5s, sorry. Golfers who missed the cut last week. Here we go. Noren, old man. Old man Noren. Fowler's an old guy now. Berger's an old guy. Nick Taylor's an old guy. Who are not old, Matt McCarty, Suber. Harry Hall's not old, believe it or not. Sepp Straka, I wouldn't say is old. I think he's like 27, 28. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think he's that old. And Smalley's not old. So maybe this is the week that Norn plays well. Maybe this is the week that Berger plays well. What other things can we glean from that? What other things? Strokes gain buckets. They're all in the 3s or the 2s. There are a couple 5s. 5-5. There's a 4, a 5, another 4, 5, 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3s. I mean, it's just a mix. 2 3s, 4s, and 5s. Recent form. 3s, there's a 4. 4s are ugly. We don't like 4s, but there's one there. 3. 3. Another 4. Ooh, the 3s are looking really good. And so too are the 4s. Gross. 3s and 4s. 3s and 4s. 3s and 4s. 3s and 4s. This is a 3. Norton's a 3. Straka's a 4, Fowler's a 4, Berger's a 4, Matt McCarty's a 4, Novak's a 3, Taylor's a 3, Harry Hall's a 3. Then Suber's a 2, Smalley's a 2. Yeah, it's all over the place. Any one of these guys are live. All right, golfers that did not play last week. Eric Cole, J-Day withdrew. Sorry, that's not showing up there. I would never actually have it show up there. Finau didn't play. Pendrith, Meisner, Denny McCarthy, Hoagie, Snedeker, Hubbard. So no one's really a young stud from this group. Like I'm looking for like a Thorbjornsen, Michael Thorbjornsen. Let's see here. Blair wasn't that young. Reeve was old. Smalley's young. Gim is fairly young. Poston is middle-aged. Hadley's middle-aged. Willie McGirt was old. Okay. Sure. I mean, Eric Cole's right in that picture. Okay. Okay. So in the beginning of the week with Byron, I shouldn't even say the beginning of the week. It's technically the beginning of the week. But as we talked with Byron, we liked Brian Harmon. I liked Eric Cole. What else? There was one other golfer that we liked. Is it Poston season? It could be. Sure, I'll put in Poston. I don't think there's anybody else that I really care down there. Up here, I mean, it was Patrick Cantlay. I'm going to lock in those 4 golfers and see what I get. I get an 8, 2 7s, and a 6. So really, it's opened up to play 2 9s and a 10, or a 9 and a 10, or 2 9s, or maybe even 2 10s. Fitzpatrick, Henley, Cantlay, Harmon, Poston, Cole. 10 9 8, 7 7 6. Yeah, that makes sense, right, guys? That's probably the most. It's maybe the most cash esque lineup possible. I'm gonna kick out Henley. Now it might pick me 2 9s. Oberg and JT. Yeah, sign me up for that too. Maybe I kick out Oberg this time. Because I do like JT. And then it breaks. Okay. So that type of pricing, maybe we don't go with Poston. Okay, let's not do Poston. We won't do Poston. Fleetwood, JT, Harmon. Oh, I don't want Gerard either, but that one's not bad. Shoffley, Cam Young, Cantlay, Harmon, Cole, Fowler. I don't want Fowler. Actually, Fowler's a perfect old guy to put in this lineup. Really, he actually is. He's a perfect old guy to put in this lineup. Fleetwood, Young, Cantlay, Harmon, Cole, and Ryan Fox. Sure, I could do something like that. Pick out that. Sorry guys, I kind of got I got obsessed with trying to build a decent line. Ooh, old man Norin in this lineup. Fitzpatrick and Morikawa. Oh hell yeah, this is what we're looking for right there. That's perfect. I'm gonna kick out Fitzpatrick. That's a pretty good lineup. I really like that one. Fleetwood, Morikawa, Cantlay, Harmon, that's another. This is the one I'm really looking for. There we go. There we go. Woo. Okay. I feel like that is how I'd best use to expose my bias. Oh yeah, I read that one. No, it's on Splash Sports. Have you ever heard of Splash Sports Rick Run Good contest? Now that you say that, yes. But outside of you saying that, I totally forgot. I'm older than all of the golfers. Well, I mean, that happens, AJ. That happens sometimes. I'm going to do one more roll call. And then I am going to get out of here. I don't see anybody else with lineup builds. I guess if you guys have questions, we can do that. So, roll call number 2. Let's make it easy. Don't forget about Theegala. Why do I need to remember Theegala? Theegala was not a golfer that I cared to play. Scotty Theegala might be interesting. Maybe. Fleetwood, Oberg, Cantlay, Harmon, Cole, and Berger. Oh, that's another good one. That is another good one. Fleetwood, Thomas, Cantlay, Harmon, Cole, Straka. Sure, I like that one too. Let's get out of Straka. SweetSpot. Fleetwood, Oberg, Cantlay, Harmon, Cole, Hoagie. Hoagie, the old fogey. Fleetwood, Thomas, Cantlay, Harmon, Stevens, Cole. I don't like that one. Not a big Sam Stevens guy this week. Not a big Sam Stevens guy. Oberg, Morikawa, Cantlay, Harmon, Nikolai Højgaard, and Eric Cole. Sure, I'm not going to have much Nikolai Højgaard. JT Poston, Oberg, Thomas, Cantlay, Harmon, Poston, and Cole. All right, one more. I'm going to kick out Oberg. A bad joke. And it breaks. Hey, what do you know? I'm gonna kick out Cantlay and I'm gonna put in Scheffler. What can you give me out of this? Scheffler right down to Rose, Harmon, Poston, Cole, Matt McCarty. Don't really care. Scheffler, Harmon, Poston, Knapp, Cole, Mac Meisner. I don't think I can do... I would like to believe in Knapp. I just don't think I can do it. I just don't think I can do it. I also don't think I can do Bud Cauley. Scheffler, Harmon, Poston, Bud Cauley, Bud's not a bad player. I just, in these types of lineups I'm building on the screen, I don't really care for those. All right, I can get behind this one. Scheffler, Rose, Harmon, Shane Lowry, Eric Cole, Jackson Suber. Only one marquee tee time golfer there. Really hard to do Scheffler lineups with Harmon. I guess I don't know why it's not trying to pick like Aaron Rye. And Rosie's not in a marquee tee time. Scheffler, Harmon, Poston, Shane Lowry. Actually, you know what? I am going to change this back to it too. Give me what I want. That doesn't like it. Those golfers I can't put with Scheffler, and maybe that's a sign to not play Scheffler. Maybe. All right, let's put all you guys in here. AJ Love, Lombardi, BMAC, that's it. Rose, Woodland, Mike, Kim, top 20. Is that your parlay? Not bad. Not bad. All right. Anything else? Anything else? I will be streaming tomorrow night. Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, going over the last little bits and pieces that I'm looking for in my lineup building. Maybe I'll learn something important by tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, last week I thought I did. Now I can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh, was it the... No... Shoot, I can't remember what it was. Well. Okay. Well, this is it. That's all I got for you guys. Again, I'll be live tomorrow, so go check it out. We can talk more. Until then, I wish you all good luck. Hopefully your screens be green. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you all.